This is Counterpoint, and I'm your host, Tanya Granic Allen. We're back with our parental rights and education show today as we unpack latest issues. We're going to cover the new Alberta transgender youth legislation and Danielle Smith's intention invoking the notwithstanding clause. We'll discuss Ontario's Bill 33 as it passes and what that means for school boards in Ontario. We'll cover various legal school board challenges in British Columbia and also Ontario and online safety for children with a fresh new incident in Nova Scotia. Well, joining me now is Celine, Traynor, Director of Communications with Parents as First Educators, and we're going to unpack it all. Celine, welcome to the show. Great to have you back on.
Great to be with you, Tanya.
Excellent. Okay, so let's start with Alberta because this seems like a behemoth issue. Again, it seems Alberta's taking the lead on this movement to, I guess, push back against youth transitioning. Explain to us what's going on.
Yes, so when we last spoke, Alberta was in the process of passing this legislation, which covers issues like medical transition for children, social transition and pronoun change in schools, as well as sports. So, girls' sports, and there only being biological females in girls' sports. So, there was a judge who was trying to basically slow it down, and there was an injunction placed on the legislation, and because of this, Danielle Smith has now invoked the notwithstanding clause to prevent any further court challenges on this legislation.
So the judge was not able to put an injunction, and because she's going to invoke the notwithstanding clause, basically it means this is a done deal.
This is a done deal now. Yeah, no, the judge, there was an injunction placed. Sorry, if it wasn't clear, there was an injunction
Okay,
placed. That was the last we spoke. That was the last thing that had happened.
right.
However, now Danielle Smith is invoking the notwithstanding clause to prevent further court challenges on this legislation. So Alberta is certainly leading the way in terms of Canada. And because, across the world, as we've discussed, France, Sweden, several countries are now hitting the brakes, putting a pause on medical transition for youth. They're saying, we haven't studied this. There have been no long-term studies done, and it's actually, now that there are some more research being done on this issue, it's being found that it actually is harmful and not irreversible as people claim.
So it's not a common occurrence for a premier to invoke the notwithstanding clause. It actually seldom is done. Is this being used responsibly here? Do you think this issue merits the notwithstanding clause?
Well, I think that Premier Smith knows that she's going to be met with a lot of blowback on this issue, and I think she has an agenda. She has her intentions are clear with this issue from the very beginning of her being elected. She's spoken about protecting children, protecting women's sports. Defending parental rights, which at PAFE we love that. We're very happy with that. So it is a priority for her, and I think it's quite shocking because, like you said, the notwithstanding clause is not invoked very often. But I think it just goes to show how important this is for her government.
Do you see any other provinces kind of following in Alberta's steps? Because let's face it, all over North America, you mentioned many European countries. I guess North America is a little bit behind the times, but we've seen this kind of play out in various U.S. states. Uh, I know there was some small attempts, or the first major attempt, I guess, was by Blaine Higgs, the then premier of New Brunswick, and then Danielle Smith has really taken the bull by the horns and really has tackled this issue. Do you anticipate other provinces like Quebec, BC, Ontario following suit?
I mean, you mentioned New Brunswick. That was the one province that had done anything similar to what Alberta is doing. I wish that I could say that potentially we could see Quebec or Ontario following suit. I really don't see that being the case, just considering the provincial governments in both provinces, and we haven't really seen any steps in that direction. Further out west either, BC or anywhere like that. So I don't really think that there will be any provinces, at least in the near future, following what Danielle Smith is doing. However, her invoking the notwithstanding clause, it really just it cements that this is very important for the government of Alberta, and I think it sends a signal across Canada that this issue is being taken seriously, at the very least, in the province of Alberta.
And we only have about 30 seconds left. Are parents happy? Are they upset? How are they receiving this news?
I think, I obviously I have to look at the data, but I think that a lot of parents are very happy. There's of course pushback from some parents and some activist groups, advocacy groups for LGBTQ and transgender youth and whatnot. But I think that there are parents who are very happy because they're going to now have the trust that sending their children to school, their pronouns are not going to be changed without their consent, and that's a big thing.
Okay, excellent. We're going to pick up a new topic when we come back from this commercial break.